Hi, I'm William Vokey. Please make a donation to Carnegie's annual fund. Your donations directly support programs like the video you're about to watch. These are difficult times. Help keep alive these voices for ethics. Thanks.
Reluctance to engage with terrorist groups has a price. We may miss a chance in some circumstances to end a conflict. And if we can't end a conflict, we may miss a chance to gain greater insight by engaging with a terrorist group into its personalities, into its structure, into its organization, into its rivalries, into ways in which members of this group may be recruited and turned to our advantage. All this is a price that may be paid if you decide not to engage with these groups. But it seems clear, wherever you come out on this issue, that the price of not engaging with terrorist groups in the future is likely to increase, because terrorism trends, the arrows for terrorism trends, all point in the wrong directions as we look forward. There will be more terrorist groups in the future than in the past. One reason for that is simply demographic. 60% of all the people in the Middle East, 60% are below the age of 25. And terrorism is a young man's game. And if you combine this demographic bulge with a lot of the social and political pathologies throughout the Middle East, it's a toxic brew. Indeed, the National Intelligence Council, the CIA's in-house think tank, has talked about exactly this demographic bulge and its implications for terrorism in its last two reports on mapping the future. In addition, there are going to be more places for terrorist groups to gather and to scheme in the future than in the past. A few years ago, the CIA Director George Tenet talked about something he called stateless zones. These were areas of countries where the government's writ did not run. They simply had no control over these areas, and they were havens for criminality and for terrorists. And with the economic downturn in the last few years and some of the hardship that's imposed, especially on some of the developing world countries, these stateless zones have increased and are likely to increase more in the future. In addition, terrorist groups are going to have greater access to more lethal technology and weapons. And if you can just consider this for a moment, I'm quoting from a recent RAND department, a RAND Institute study. Since 9/11, Al-Qaeda has engaged in more terrorist attacks on more continents with more sophisticated weapons than in its entire history to date. So it seems as if the terrorism trends are pointing in a direction where this is going to become more of a problem rather than less of one. And that's why the Pentagon has developed what it calls the long war concept. We're in for a very long war against lots of these types of groups in the future. And then the bumper sticker answer to this long war challenge comes from General David Petraeus. And General Petraeus has said repeatedly and famously that you can't kill or capture your way out of an insurgency. And what he means by that is that at a certain point in time, you're going to have to talk. So there are good arguments that we need to think more deeply, more powerfully, and more comprehensively about whether to engage with terrorist groups, when to engage with them, and especially how to engage with them.